My name is Paolo Annicchiarico. I work in Italy for a research center which works on forage crops and dairy productions. It belongs to a network, CRA, that is the equivalent, the Italian equivalent of INRA in France. And I am the coordinator of a project named Reforma, resilient, water and energy efficient forage crops for crop livestock systems in the Mediterranean region. Northern and southern part of the Mediterranean basin produce both forage, feed for livestock and livestock products, although with different purposes, because in southern Europe crop livestock systems are very important to produce local products with high added value, like cheeses, for example, while in the southern part of the Mediterranean basin, crop livestock systems must respond to the increasing demand for highly nutritious foods like milk and eggs. And in Southern Europe we have a pretty long tradition of growing crops for animals, but this is not really the case in Northern African countries. The helicopter. Because in North African countries and other countries of the southern part of the Mediterranean basin, animals are fed very often just on crop residues, or they are just grazing in the side parts of the roads. There is no specific crop, especially for ruminants like sheep and cows, so the productivity is very, very low. And then we have a few very intensive places where animals are bred essentially using concentrates. So what we really need is, on the one hand, having forages which are produced in a way that their yield is high enough to have a sustainable intensification of crop livestock systems, but still they are enough stress tolerant. On the other hand, it is also important to produce feed crops that can be used in intensive systems, like for poultry or dairy systems sometime, but that can be produced directly in the countries that are breeding the animals, instead of being bought outside with a high cost. So in our project we focus mainly on lucerne, which can be used normally for hay or silage, or also given as a green fodder to animals, but, and this is something innovative, can also be used as a grazing crop. And we are also working on pea, which could be used to produce grain for intensive systems, but also to produce forage, often in association with cereals. And in our project, we consider genetic improvement of these two species, and as well as selecting varieties from the material we are testing. So one first output will be having new varieties tolerant to major abiotic stresses for lucerne and pea. Then we will be developing innovative selection methods based either on molecular markers or also on ecological breeding strategies. And finally, we will be testing in different agricultural environments annual and perennial forage crops, which are innovative because for lucerne they are mainly based on mixtures with grasses instead of being pure stand. And also for pea we will be considering also mixtures with cereals. And apart from measuring production and forage quality, another innovative aspect is that farmers, large sets of farmers, are invited to evaluate these crops and expressing their interest, ranking them in order of importance, so that we can also take into account the acceptability by farmers.